Happy Monday, everyone. We've got a great feature for you today. We're talking about unions and small businesses in regards to President Biden's infrastructure plan. Check this out.
Talking today with Congressman Andy Levin, representative of Michigan's Ninth District. Representative Levin serves on the House Education and Labor Committee and was a co sponsor of House Resolution 842, the Protecting the Right to Organize Act, which was passed by the House of Representatives on March 9th. I know you've got high hopes for the ProAct. Could you tell our viewers what you hope it'll accomplish?
Yeah, basically lift up the working class of this country. For 40 years, the working people of this country have gotten the short end of the stick. Workers have seen their raises go up, their incomes go up literally 1% in the last 40 years, whereas the top 10% of people have seen their incomes go up over 100%. And this would just free up workers to form unions. This is just private sector workers. And basically, whereas years ago, as many as a third of workers had unions, today, 6% of private sector workers have unions. We got the worst income and wealth inequality in 100 years. And the average person is struggling just to put food on the table. They don't have $400 for an emergency, on and on and on. They don't have enough retirement. And so people who form unions make more money, have more health care, have more pensions, have a better life, and they help all the non-union workers too, because the non-union employers want to compete, to keep their workers. So it would restore the middle class of this country, basically. That's what I'm fighting for.
Our viewers are mostly independent owner-operators, small business truckers, many of whom have found success by leasing themselves on as independent contractors to larger companies, which they handle a lot of the stickier details of running a business, such as negotiating insurance rates and finding loads and things like that. So these folks say that the ProAct is going to drive them out of business, specifically the ABC test, which specifies, among other things, that the employer cannot be in the same line of work as the contractor. And it sure looks like that's the case, or is there some kind of loophole that we're missing here?
A union only forms when a majority of the people working someplace wants to form it. So if your listeners or viewers are like, well, we like things just the way they are, well, they ain't changing, Brad, because it's up to them to make any change. That's the way unions work.
Say a trucking company has some employees. They have a core of employees, and then they have a group of leased-on employees that allows them to kind of manage their loads. Say the employees that are within the trucking company unionize. Can that company still contract with independent contractors, or is it now a union shop where you're either an employee or you don't haul?
So then when the workers file to form a union, the two parties have to agree on what's called the bargaining unit. So they would explicitly have to decide, well, what about those 100 owner operators? Are they in or are they out? And from the employer's point of view, the company, they might say, well, heck, we like that flexibility. We hope they're out. From the union's point of view, they're going to say, well, would those people vote yes or no? And if they think they'd vote no because they like it the way they have it, both sides would probably say, let's leave them outside of the bargaining unit. So, it's likely they'd be left out. Now, if the union said, you know what, screw it, we think we can win no matter what, we want everybody in, then it's possible that those people would be included in the unit. And then it would be up, they'd get a vote on whether to form a union or not. And then, I guess they could campaign with the employee drivers to say, hey, let's leave it the way it is, or vote against the union. So they would have at least two bites at that apple. And but my sense is that in a lot of cases, both the union and the employer would have an interest in leaving it like it is.
If a union were to come in and be certified, would the independent contractors have to pay union dues then to continue to operate as independent contractors with that company?
The Supreme Court decided, I think in 1947, that no one can be made to be a member of a union. It's totally voluntary. So they couldn't be ever made to join the union or pay union dues. But under the ProAct, if the company and the union, under basic freedom of contract principles, decides, hey, in our contract, everybody benefits by the collective bargaining agreement, everybody gets the pay, the benefits, and the representation of the union. So we will have a fair share fee, or basically a fee to administer the collective bargaining agreement. That could cover the independent operators. Now, the union would not be allowed to put any political contributions, any, like events or larger things, their convention, whatever other activities. But the cost of actually negotiating the contract and representing those employees could be charged to everybody so that everybody pays their fair share. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, union workers in the sector that the Labor Department calls transportation and material moving occupations, right? The exact thing that truck drivers are, make $15,000 a year more than non-union drivers. So, I mean, there may be some benefit to this to the drivers, because that's just like straight up government statistics that unionized truckers make more than non-union ones. So I can see, it's my goal here, Brad. My personal idea is, let's have a free market for workers just on their own, without the boss, without the company telling them what to do. Let workers decide for themselves what's in their own best interest. And so in this case, you have a constituency of a bunch of very important workers in our society, and their voice needs to be protected along with all the other workers.
Thank you very much. And for the Truck Boss Show, I'm Brad Kuhn. I'll see you down the road.
That's it for today's feature. Tune in Wednesday for another great story.